Malaya dressed the kids and took them to the roadside and put them in a vehicle. I'm about 80% sure I know who was driving the vehicle. I know who was in the vehicle. And before they realized what happened, things blew up so quick.
For nearly 2 months, the case of 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan has dominated headlines, triggered a massive manhunt, and broken hearts across Canada. But now, the RCMP's final report, made public just minutes ago, has sent shockwaves through the country. Long suppressed evidence, controversial investigative decisions, and damning behavioral patterns have come to light, forcing the public to reevaluate what really happened on May 2nd, 2025, in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. This is no longer just a missing persons case. It is now officially a criminal investigation, and the details emerging are darker than anyone imagined. Shortly after 11 a.m. on Friday, May 2nd, 2025, Nova Scotia's Provincial Dispatch Center received a frantic 911 call. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her younger brother Jack were missing. Their mother, Malaya Sullivan, reported that the 2 children had vanished from a stretch of dense woods near Lansdowne Road, a routine case of lost children, until it wasn't. Within hours, dozens of RCMP officers, specialized canine units, forensic teams, and civilian volunteers swarmed the forest. Estimates now put the total search effort at over 12,000 man-hours, grid-searching every conceivable nook and cranny. Investigators even sent drones into unstable mine shafts and inspected wells and septic tanks. Yet no clothing, no backpacks, not even a shoe, nothing that could be definitively linked to Lily or Jack. The only potential clue was a small rubber boot print, which forensic analysts could neither confirm nor dismiss as belonging to one of the children. An RCMP sergeant later summarized the frustration. "We covered that forest shoulder to shoulder. We didn't just comb it, we saturated it. And still, there was no trace of them. No disturbance. No sign of anyone having been there. How do 2 young children simply vanish without a trace?" As the hours turned into days, it became clear this was no ordinary missing persons case. Unknown to much of the public at the time, the Sullivan household had already drawn the attention of Child Protective Services, CPS. In late April 2025, just days before Lily and Jack vanished, CPS had conducted a welfare check. The agency's concerns were serious enough that, following the disappearance, CPS legally removed the couple's infant daughter, Meadow, from the home. Malaya had reportedly violated a court order by fleeing with Meadow to a Mi'kmaq reserve at Shubenacadie. When asked about the case, Nova Scotia's Minister for Children, Scott Armstrong, offered a cryptic statement. "We have no idea where these children are, and we should focus on helping them and finding them." Yet behind closed doors, the system was already on high alert. An RCMP major crime unit was activated almost immediately, an extraordinary move for an initial missing persons report. Such units are normally reserved for homicides and other violent crimes, signaling that investigators suspected foul play from the outset. As the public search wrapped weeks without result, the stress fractured relationships inside the Sullivan family. Malaya Sullivan, the mother, suddenly vanished from public view. She deactivated social media profiles, blocked her own stepfather, and refused repeated requests for interviews. Her silence fueled rumors of guilt and evasion. Daniel McKenzie, Malaya's on-again, off-again partner and the children's stepfather, took to social media with posts alternating between desperate pleas, "Bring my babies home," and chilling threats, "Meadow and I will visit you in prison." His erratic behavior raised eyebrows and suspicion. Cody Sullivan, who had not lived with the children for over 3 years, was interrogated by police for 90 minutes in a stationary vehicle. He emerged emotionally shaken, asserting he had no involvement, and was later told he was no longer a suspect. Yet his criminal record, multiple provincial court cases dating from 2021 to 2025, cast a long shadow. Tensions boiled over into physical altercations among relatives. One cousin reportedly confronted Daniel in a heated backyard fight, accusing him directly of wrongdoing. Another relative bluntly told police, "Malaya knows what happened," suggesting insider knowledge. For weeks, the only public timeline placed the family in the woods on the morning of May 2nd. Then, In a June update that barely registered at first glance, the RCMP dropped a bombshell. Lilly and Jack were last seen on surveillance cameras on May 1st at 2 p.m. Footage from a plaza in New Glasgow captured Malaya, Daniel, and all 3 children together, 20 hours before the official missing persons report. From 2 p.m. on May 1st until Malaya's 911 call around 3 a.m. on May 2nd, there exists a complete and still unexplained gap. Why did Malaya wait so long to report the disappearance? What transpired during those critical 20 hours? Investigators have confirmed that messages and phone logs from that window are now at the center of their probe. As the truth trickled out, one RCMP decision became particularly controversial. No cadaver dogs were used in the initial searches. Cadaver dogs, specially trained to detect human remains, even those buried or submerged, are considered invaluable in missing person cases with suspected foul play. RCMP sources later admitted the choice was strategic. Deploying cadaver dogs too early would openly signal investigators believed the children were dead. Officials maintained that keeping the scope to ground and canine general-purpose units allowed families to continue cooperating. But weeks later, under mounting public pressure, cadaver dogs were brought in for targeted searches. By then, however, civilian foot traffic in search areas had potentially compromised scent trails. The absence of early deployment remains a point of contention among search and rescue professionals and grieving families alike. Late in June, a video posted to social media by Darren Geddes, a second cousin of Malaya and longtime local excavation manager, sent shockwaves through the community. In an unedited 6-minute statement, Darren declared, with unwavering conviction, "The kids are alive. I am 1,000% sure. They are not in Nova Scotia anymore. They're being cared for by Malaya's native people." Darren claimed an unnamed, highly placed source, someone in the thick of the investigation, told him that Malaya, distraught over CPS threats to permanently remove her children, orchestrated a plan to spirit Lilly and Jack away. According to Darren, Malaya dressed the children, led them to a roadside under cover of darkness, and placed them into a waiting vehicle. A few extended family members, believing they were helping protect the children from CPS, drove them away. Upon learning Darren was onto her plan, she panicked, grabbed baby Meadow, and fled to the Shubenacadie Reserve, where her lawyer's family has legal ties. Darren warned, "If I'm wrong, I'll expose my source." Whether hailed as a whistleblower or dismissed as conspiratorial, his testimony forced the RCMP to reckon publicly with the possibility that the children had been deliberately hidden, rather than lost or harmed. Just 7 minutes ago, the RCMP released a final case summary, an 18-page document that both confirms and deepens the mystery. After 12,000 hours of searching, no new trace evidence emerged. Surveillance footage cements May 1st as the last sighting, not May 2nd. The file has been upgraded from missing persons to a criminal investigation of concealment, obstruction, and potential child endangerment. Digital forensics now drive the probe, cell tower pings, phone GPS logs, email and messaging metadata, and financial transactions. Confirmed existence of prior CPS involvement was acknowledged, though details remain sealed by privacy laws. The report's release caused social media meltdown. TrueCrime podcasters, amateur sleuths, and news outlets dissecting every line. Yet even now, 8 weeks after the first 911 call, Lilly and Jack's fate remains unknown. With physical searches exhausted, the RCMP's pivot to digital evidence is pivotal. Pings from Malaya's and Daniel's phones trace movement between May 1st, 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., but gaps persist. Daniel's SUV records show an unlogged trip at 4:15 p.m., just 2 hours after surveillance sighting. Text messages between Malaya and an undisclosed contact spike aggressively on the evening of May 1st. A modest transfer from Malaya's bank account to a rural Nova Scotia credit union on May 1st at 8 p.m. remains unexplained. Investigators believe these digital breadcrumbs, once fully decrypted and correlated, may reveal precise movements and communications, pointing directly to who knew what, when. As the RCMP pursues digital leads, public speculation has coalesced into 3 main theories. The first posits homicide and a cover-up. RCMP's initial focus on did you kill them Polygraph questions support the scenario, and delay in reporting could be part of deliberate concealment. The second embraces protective hiding. Darren's insider account suggests Malaya's fear of CPS prompted clandestine relocation to sympathetic relatives. The children may remain alive but hidden, potentially outside Nova Scotia jurisdiction. The third, more sinister, theory involves trafficking. Gaps in the timeline and unanswered questions fuel speculation of a network abduction, though no concrete public evidence supports it yet. Each theory carries its own set of moral and investigative implications. The RCMP's criminal classification signals they're exploring all avenues, especially concealment and obstruction rather than accidental disappearance. Community reactions reveal the emotional toll. Volunteers who spent weekends grid searching describe the woods as hauntingly silent. Normally lost children leave some sign, yet here was nothing. Neighbors recall seeing Malaya's house days before the disappearance. It looked like it had been abandoned, one said. Former CPS workers lament the lack of transparency. We knew there were issues, but our hands were tied once the children vanished. TrueCrime forums and social media have become de facto town halls, armchair detectives sharing theories, poring over every available police statement and mapping potential escape routes. Yet amid the digital cacophony, one fact remains. No one outside law enforcement knows the full picture. According to the RCMP's closing remarks, all standard investigative avenues have been exhausted. This case will now proceed to the criminal justice system based on evidence of concealment and obstruction. We urge anyone with critical information to come forward immediately. Key upcoming actions include forensic analysis of all seized digital devices and communications, subpoenas to compel release of sealed CPS records, interviews with every family member, friend, and associate who had contact during that critical 20-hour window, and cross-jurisdictional cooperation if evidence points beyond Nova Scotia. The RCMP also indicated they are reviewing security camera footage from highways and ferry terminals, raising the possibility that Lilly and Jack may have been transported out of the province or even the country. For 8 weeks, the community held on to hope that Lilly and Jack would be found safe. The RCMP's final report, released just minutes ago, pulls back the curtain on suppressed evidence, flawed decisions, and a family's unraveling. From the moment search teams grid searched every inch of forest to the shocking insider confession by a besieged relative, this case has proven that protecting children can become entangled in fear, secrecy, and desperation. Now, with the investigation firmly in the realm of criminal inquiry, every digital clue, every bank transfer, every encrypted message could hold the key to locating these children. And though the truth remains shrouded, one thing is certain. Someone out there knows exactly what happened. If you have any information, no matter how small, please contact the RCMP Major Crime Unit immediately. The longer Lilly and Jack remain missing, the greater the risk to their safety. In this race against time, every second, every lead, and every tip could be the one that finally brings them home.